podcast. I have a good friend of mine, Devin, Heath, Granger. I have nothing but good things to say about this man. It's funny because when I meet people, you're always going to be the sophomore in high school.
Yep.
I will never see you as an
Yep.
adult. I know you got a family of kids, but to me, I'm always going to call you a young man.
Yep.
We're going to talk a little bit. And Devin trained with me in high school. One of the hardest working kids I've ever worked with. I mean, he was just phenomenal to work with. No excuses, great questions. If he didn't understand something, he would stop me like, hey, why am I doing this? And you really, there's a good question, and then there's just a question just to waste time. And you were always on it. He's the all-time leading assist leader at Goshen. Played at LC, sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
sorry.
I'm podcast over. I'm done.
Yeah.
No. So he played over there. Teammates with Kyle Guy.
Yep.
Very successful high school career. And then you graduated from Goshen, and you jumped into college coaching.
Yep.
You were assistant coach at Marion,
Yep.
assistant coach at Fairmount,
Yep.
and now you're at UIndy.
Yep.
And you just got named one of the top 25 youngest coaches.
Yep.
So what did I miss? Did I miss anything?
That's about it. So, just super thankful, obviously to you, just from the development standpoint in high school. And it's funny, just the whole Champions Academy of growing up, of just how important that was to my development and doing things the right way. So, just thankful to be here and thankful to get this going.
I want to look into that a little bit. I want to peel back some layers. And this is what I feel like a lot of players don't understand. Rewind this probably about, 8 years ago, 9 years ago. You're still in high school. You're still going. What was your mindset? What did your work day look like? You went to school, you trained, you played. Walk us through that. And where were you?
Well, a lot of it honestly goes back to my parents. So my dad played college baseball at Ball State.
Okay.
And my mom has always been just an athletic person and was super into sports too. So their sacrifice had a lot to do with my success. And when I got home from school, if I didn't have basketball practice or baseball practice or whatever it may be, they were the main ones pushing me to go do something. And I think that's where it started. But just going back in high school, when you
Can I ask you a question about that? Were you self-driven, or did your parents have to drive you?
I became self-driven, but I think a lot of it came from them at an early age, kind of putting that into myself. So,
knowing what you had to do.
And by the time I got to high school, being around a lot of talented players, and when you play in this state of Indiana, basketball has to be important, whether you want it to or not. And for me, I wanted to be a good player. I wanted to be the best player I could be, and I knew for that I had to put in a lot of work to do it. And there was a lot of trainers at the time, and I'll be just honest, I thought a lot of them did it for them and not for the development of myself or a player. And a guy like you, when you work out, it was realistic, it was quick, it was intense, and that's what I needed at the time. I didn't want to stand in the back of a line of 15 guys and just kind of have an hour workout where I felt like I didn't really get much. So I knew how important it was for me, and I knew every single day how important I had to master that and put in the work every single day.
I did think it was interesting because you never left the gym dry. You always left the gym sweaty through your shirt, and that was something I always appreciated. I don't feel I don't like throwing stones at generations. Like I feel like your generation had a different challenge than mine, and then this one. But I just feel like this generation, and maybe it's too much basketball, where they don't mind leaving the workout. Well, I didn't break a sweat, and for me, it drives me nuts.
No, that makes sense.
So you played in high school. What did your work week, or what did your typical day look like? How many times were you training? How many times were you playing? Open gyms?
So I always did something, a lot of times even in Creditplex on the east side, used to always go there in the morning, either with my dad or with myself, and we'd either lift or shoot before school. Obviously, you would go through school, and then after, you would have your team practice, and me and my teammates always did a really good job of just kind of staying after practice. So when we got done with practice, and I joke, my high school coach, J.R. Shell, we were not practicing 3 hours. We were hour and a half, 2 hours in and out. So we always did a good job of making sure we got extra work after. And then there was a lot of weeknights where I would come over, train with you, or go back to the gym. So like I said, it was important to me. But honestly, I had a lot of guys around me that held me accountable in high school, which I think forced me to put in a lot of extra work too. I've never been the tallest, the strongest, so I always felt like for myself to have success, I had to do it with work, and that was something I took a lot of pride in.
Something you keep talking about is the motivated guys. Hey, this guy motivated me. And think about, and I'm putting your coaching hat on and your playing hat on. What can you tell us a time when you had to work with somebody that wasn't as motivated as you?
Oh yeah.
How did you approach it? Did you let them go by the wayside? Did you pull them by the collar and say, "Hey, come here, young guy"? Like, can you talk about that and how you would have dealt with that?
Well, definitely. And I think when you go to big high schools and 4A schools in Indiana, you're not everybody's not going to have the same passion. There's a lot of guys who went to LC at the time who were just gifted athletes. Who kind of got away with just being athletic and didn't put a lot of time in. And for me, obviously, that's frustrating. And you try everything you can do to get them, but if they don't want to hop on the ship, then you roll with the guys that will. So I think there's a good balance of you push them and you try to get them, but if they don't want to, you go over to the guys that do, and you know you're going to have success with the guys that work hard.
You just create that culture of your little pocket of like, hey, if you're not on the, what was it, the energy bus?
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, if you're on the bus, we're going.
Right.
If you're not on the bus, don't get mad at who
And
are.
I think for me, it was always, how can you be a leader if you're not doing it every day too?
Ooh.
So for myself, it's if I want other people to do it, well, hell, I better get in and do it myself. So.
Dig on that a little bit. Hold on. Like, that is probably the most powerful thing you're going to say all day.
Yeah.
If you're not doing it, the other people won't. Like, what's it look like?
Yeah. And for me, that was, and I go back to my parents, and I talk a lot about them, and they kind of gave success to me, and they worked extremely hard to making sure I had the opportunities I did. But yeah, I mean, if you're not doing it, and if you want to be a leader, I think so many people vocally, which is really good, but I think for myself, I had to do it by example.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was never the strongest, I was never the tallest, I never had this gifted jump shot, so I wanted to be the guy that everybody knew was going to work extremely hard and do it every day. And it wasn't just basketball, it was classroom, it was conditioning, it was try to just do everything the best you can, and I think that's something still to this day in coaching I try to do.
I think that's interesting you said that. And you said, God, if you're listening to this, I really just hope you take the powerful message he said is the leadership just doesn't start on the court. It doesn't start when the lights are on. Hey, boom, lights are on, big game, I'm a leader.
Yep.
You were a leader in the morning before you got to school. You were a leader at school, a leader in the classroom. Yep. You were a leader in the locker room. And then that bled over to a leader in practice. And not just being the guy that's the hoorah guy, but you had to step up. If you're expecting me to make 5 free throws in a row, you better be able to make 10.
Yeah,
and so holding yourself to that higher standard. And I think so many people get excited, especially young parents, adults, parents get excited. Oh, that's my son, the team captain. Well, did he earn it or does it give it to him? And so you can see that. And it's funny because I can see you wearing both hats. I can see you wearing your player hat, which you're kind of putting your coaching hat on right now.
Yeah.
Let's slide over. Let's take that player hat off and let's put the coaching hat on. What do you look for as a college coach? So you're coming in, you're recruiting somebody. I would also say, how many kids are on your radar? How many kids have ever been, this kid's not on my radar, now I like him? Can you talk about the recruiting process?
Oh, man, and it has changed so much from what it is now to what it's been. But for us, obviously, you have to be talented. It's not sugarcoating it. Our job is to have success and put people in position to win. But there's so many kids that have talent. Character is right up there with that. And for us, we do a lot of homework, whether we're recruiting high school kids, we're recruiting transfers. We make a lot of calls. We recruit the parents a lot. Like for us, if we have a visit, it's almost a non-negotiable that your parents come or one of them, just because we want to know kind of what's behind the kid.
Yeah.
And so for us, like we do a lot of background. We call high school coaches. We call AU coaches because for us, the recruiting process, it's only so long. So if I'm recruiting a kid, you can only get to know them so much. And for us, we want to just kind of know his story, get to know that. So character's huge, obviously the talent. And then for us, just from a radar standpoint, man, I mean, 100, 150 kids. Like, there's not a kid in Indiana that we don't know about. Yeah. And it's how it should be. Indiana is a super talented state. And we're fortunate to be here. So for
also
that,
very well covered.
Yes, exactly. So for us, we have to narrow down which fits us, and it goes back to character and work ethic and how they are as a teammate. And I think I'm going up to Fort Wayne tomorrow to watch AAU, and if I'm watching a kid just play basketball, then I'm doing it wrong. You're watching how they talk to their teammates, how they treat refs, how are they warming up. All that stuff is extremely important to us.
Cleaning up after themselves.
Yes, clean up. Yes, and nowadays you can't hide either. Like, your GPA is posted. We know your GPA. You can't run from it. We know how you are as a kid. We know coaches aren't going to lie. Your high school coach, he wants you to have success, but his credibility is on the line too.
Oh.
So you can't run from it. You can't hide. Who you are as a person is going to come out, and obviously that's huge for us.
It's interesting you say, looking at the exposure events and how many exposure events. I'm gonna share the story. It's gonna be long, but I'm gonna make it as quick as possible.
Yeah.
I'm running a Champions Academy club team. I get a text. Hey, March Madness tournament. Billy Donovan's gonna be there. Coach K is gonna be there. Izzo's gonna be there. Hey, they listed all these names. Registration starts tomorrow, and it's during this weekend, March Madness. I'm at the Final Four in Texas.
Yeah.
I look in the room, and there's Billy Donovan it's Friday night.
Yeah.
Billy Donovan, Coach K, Izzo, everyone they sat is in this room. And I'm like, none of these guys are going to wake up and go to that Saturday tournament.
Yep.
And so many kids get excited to play, oh, I played in front of you, Wendy. Oh, I played in front of this coach. But, like, are you developed enough?
Yeah.
Like, you got exposed for good or bad.
Right, exactly.
But, so kind of exposure events are like, you know what you're seeing.
Right, exactly. And I think one thing, too, is coaches talk. And I think that's one thing I don't think a lot of kids know or talk about. It's like, all the college coaches, it's a brotherhood. There may be rivalries within it, but we all talk. So
it's a fraternity.
We know who's recruiting, and if you rub this coach off over here, it's going to get to this coach. Now, everybody kind of does it their own way, but it's hard to kind of go under the radar in a bad way because we all talk, we all know. So I think that's another thing of what you're talking about. It's everybody talks, everybody knows each other, which I don't think a lot of maybe kids nowadays understand that.
I thought you said something about the leadership being powerful, but that's a great takeaway.
That's our job. So I say this all the time, and I think so many kids just get so caught up in like the made shots. And there's so many things. Everybody can make shots. It's just the reality of the situation. If you go to a big AU tournament, if you go to an Indiana high school game, there's talent everywhere. What are you going to do to kind of either take your game way above or below? And I think a lot of that just goes back to what we're talking about, some of the non-basketball things. So it's just truly the reality of the situation. So
that is. I'm sorry, I'm taking that. Like that hit a nail on the head. That players need to hear that stuff where they all think that. And so I run a business.
Yep.
And I hire and fire people, but I tell people, you can leave me in a situation that makes me want to hire you again. Yeah. And for example, it was Licklider at Marion.
Yeah.
I asked him if I could work for him, and it was the politest no I've ever received in my life. Like to the point, if he called me to this day and said, "Paul, I need a favor," I'd pick up and do it. But you can tell a coach no, and be like, "Hey, you know what? This kid was respectful." The other, let's say he goes to Belmont or something like that. Belmont calls you, hey, I saw this kid told you no. Hey, you know what? Super respectful. If you want to come back, I would happily do it. You could do it in a way that you don't burn the bridge. Now, however, I have had people that left, and I said, if that guy ever calls me for any kind of favor, I'm not helping. So how you leave the room is very important. Do you have any situations that you can talk about?
Yeah, definitely. And just even today with the transfer portal, I think obviously it's just a reality situation. Whether you like it or not, it's not going anywhere. There's 3,000 kids that went to the portal. And I think the relationship of that is so important. And for us, if we're recruiting a kid that ends up going to a mid-major program and we feel like we have good relationships, it's just the reality. There's a good chance he'll be in the portal at some point. So we don't ever want to burn that. Or the same with the kid. It's if a kid that leaves us in a bad way and doesn't have a good GPA or just was a complete kind of a-hole during the process, other coaches are going to call us. And it just goes back to we're credible, to be honest. So that bridge, you don't ever want to burn it. If you're leaving in a good situation, we tell kids all the time, we'll help you find a new place. It's just the reality of it. If you leave in a bad situation, then we'll be honest, and that's up to the other coaches what they do with it. So the relationships and not burning bridges is huge, and it's kind of everything in today's society.
So talk to me. You played at Goshen. And a lot of players think I have to play at Kentucky. I have to play at Louisville. And they say, hey, you got an offer from an NAIA school. And they're like, no, I don't want none of that. What are your thoughts on that? Like, what's your overall thoughts?
Well, just for me, I'll be honest. When I was looking for a college, I loved Goshen because I knew I could go in there and have success and play. And for me, like, there were some other schools and maybe some bigger schools, but I wanted to play. And then once you get there, you realize it's college basketball. You're in a really small percentile of people that get the chance to do that. And then by the time you play a couple of years, your junior, senior year, you realize how competitive the basketball is anywhere. Division III, NAI, JUCO, Division II. It's all really good players, really good coaches that are really passionate about it. And even today, I mean, if you look at Division I rosters, a lot of them came from D2 schools. If you look at a lot of guys that are playing professional, there's a lot of NAI, D3, D2 guys. So I played in the Crossroads League, which I will tell people to this day is one of the best conferences in the country, no matter the level.
Yeah.
It's just the reality of it. And the moments, the memories I have of playing in this state, in that league was something I'll never take for granted. And even the league we're in now at UND is a Division II league, the GOVC, but it's one of the better conferences in the country, regardless of levels.
Yeah.
And the guys that go on to play overseas, but not even that, just the competitiveness and the facilities and everything you see at the non-Division I level, I think would surprise a lot of people.
So, playing at that level, what was it like in the morning? And the reason why the question stemming from this, kids are like, "Oh, what's your grades?" Well, I have a C minus. I barely have a 1.9. I'm barely making it. And then, well, how are your shots? Well, I barely make practice. I suffer through practice, and that's the foundation.
Yeah.
Talk about what it's like at the collegiate level for that kid.
Well, that was kind of, for me, that was, not in a good way, it was a rude awakening, because when you come in, especially today, you come in as an 18-year-old kid, you're playing against 22, 23-year-old men. And
for the record, that's like playing up 6 ages.
Right, exactly.
If you're in third grade, you're playing against 8th graders.
So just the reality, it doesn't matter, and I tell people this all the time, it doesn't matter what you did in high school. It's super accomplishing for you, and never take that away. But once you step onto a college campus, none of that matters, because everybody has probably done the same thing. And if they didn't do it, now they're 3 or 4 years older. So, like for me, the work that we talked about earlier, it had to even get kind of even to a higher level, because you're playing against such a higher competition.
Yeah.
So whatever you did in high school, training or studying or whatever it was, has to be 2 or 3 levels higher, because everything's harder and everything you're playing against means more. So like just a day was, you're waking up, and for me, like, we called it I forget, I think it was Warrior Week is what Goshen called it. And we're waking up at 5 o'clock and running hills, and we're doing conditioning. And I'm calling home like, man, this is not, I didn't realize this.
Yeah.
And so there's just so many things and if you don't do it, and if you don't put in the work in college, you will, the next guy's passing you up like that. Yeah. It's just, you can't hide from the work. You can't run from the grind, is what we say. You have to be willing to put in work, because one, there's other guys on the roster, and two, the coach next year, it's just a reality. He can go get another kid. Yeah. So you better come in here and put in the work and do whatever you can to stand out.
This is what people don't understand, that at the high school level, it's fun.
Right, exactly.
It's a game.
Correct.
Okay, so you don't perform well, guess what? You go to the local Waffle House. Yeah. You get looked at funny. Or you have a big game and you kind of,
correct.
Oh, I didn't realize I got half off at Waffle House.
Right.
Because it's 10 o'clock in the morning or 10 o'clock at night. Nobody else is open.
Right.
But if you roll your ankle, if you hurt yourself, you're still going to graduate high school.
Correct.
Nothing changes. Your parents still love you. But if you don't perform in college, you lose your scholarship. You're losing money. You're losing a chance. You're losing your future. Like,
and we always talk about, and I still tell all of our athletes to this day, even if the longest you'll practice is 3 hours, and most people don't practice 3 hours. If you practice 3 hours, that's 3 hours of your day that you did basketball. If that's all you're doing every single day, there's no way you'll ever be the player you can be. It's minimum, 2 hours of skill work, an hour in the morning, an hour at night. You're lifting an hour and a half. You're doing conditioning on your own, plus the practice that may be 2 hours. So many kids, I think, especially their freshman year, just think they can just show up for the 2 hour practice and go home, and then they're confused on why they're not getting better. Well, if all you're doing is 2 hours, there's no way. That's a practice. You're doing team setting. So if you're not putting in the individual time for hours every single day, there's no way your game will develop.
And the crazy part about that, though, is everyone's rising at the same level. So follow this. This is what I heard you say. 5 in the morning cardio, and then you went home and took a nap, right?
Yeah.
No.
You got class.
You got class. Okay. So you got class.
Yeah.
After class, you have lifting.
Yep.
After lifting, you have another class. Yep. Then you study hall.
Yep.
Then you go to practice.
Yep.
You study.
Yep.
Go to bed at what, 10?
Yeah.
10:30?
10:30, and you're doing it right again. And that's not even talking about like you got to do your homework. You got to do that. You still got to you be a kid. But there's so many times people don't realize is that every single kid that has success is doing the same thing.
Yep.
So it's not, you're not the only one getting in the gym early. Everybody's doing it. All the good players are. And for me, one thing I wish I would have took even more serious was just all the other stuff like nutrition and how to eat and how to take care of your body. And I think some of the resources today have allowed more kids to care about that. But for me, it's like you can't just go eat pizza rolls and pizza and fries every day. You have to be willing to take care of your body to see the success, and it's hard.
Or
it's just the reality
freshman that
of it.
shows up at Sour Patch Kids.
Right, exactly.
Right before that,
Yep.
you're like,
yeah.
if you put mud in a Lamborghini, eventually it's going to shut down.
Right.
You got to find a way to put the good stuff in it.
Yep, and so many kids just don't realize that. And for me, there's just all those little things add up to success. But it doesn't happen in 1 week. It happens 2 or 3 years over time to become a legitimately college player.
And that's the crazy part. And I'm glad you said that, because I have so many kids that come in here. There's a person, I'm going to open up and vent a little bit. I have a couple kids that come in here and they train once or twice. They do it 2 weeks and they go, oh, we didn't get any better. And I'm like, it takes years to develop this. And so you can't go to college. And what I tell players is that you're setting yourself up to fail. If I'm trying to lose weight, if I eat healthy for 2 weeks and look in the mirror and like, still not there.
No, you're exactly right. And I said this earlier, and I'm very grateful just because I think my parents were able to take the risk, and they sacrificed, whether it was financially or their time, to make sure I was doing what I love. And if that was training, or if that was, my senior year of high school, I had a geometry and math tutor. And that was because my parents saw that, okay, it's something he needed help with. And they would drive me to that, or they would drive me to the gym. And I think a lot of times parents, if they want to see their kids succeed in a sport, they have to also be willing to sacrifice some of their own and take risks and do this, which may sound hard, but even at the youth level, if you're playing AAU games Friday to Sunday and you leave Sunday and the next time you do anything is Friday, you're never going to get good. Or if you do it once a week. But I think a lot of it stems from parents too. They have to be willing to drive their kids and take the risk and maybe do things they don't want to. Or I know financially it can be a cost, but it's just the reality of it. If that's what success looks like, then you have to be willing to do some of that.
We're scholarship players too, so it's not like that. It's like, I've never told anyone no. If you have a genuine passion to be here, I will find a way to get you in, is what I tell people. Something that you said, and it's crazy because you have parents that stand on the sideline, bark, scream, the car ride home. I want to talk about the car ride home if you're willing to, but they take the score and the points seriously, but then you look at the parents and like, well, how come you're not taking the grades seriously? You know, you have your sports up here and your grades down here. It sounds like your parents had a good balance, and they were willing to sacrifice and say, hey, basketball, you're here, academically, you're here, pull it together.
And for them, my dad was the biggest critic for me, and he was the hardest guy on me, but at the time, that's what I needed. And I think so many coaches or so many youth just blame the coach, or they blame the situation, and they don't really look in the mirror of what can they do better to help their kid. Because a lot of times, especially in youth program, the kid doesn't know. He's doing what his habits tell him to do, which a lot of times come from his parents. So if parents can just look in the mirror and maybe do a couple things more to help their kid have success. And it goes back to what I said even earlier. For me, when I was training in high school, one thing I always wanted to make sure I was getting individual attention. I didn't want to go to a trainer, or I didn't want to go to anything, whether it was like academics, and be one of 30 people. Because for me, that was hard for me to learn. I needed one-on-one attention, and for me, I sought out people that could help me in one-on-one, whether it was tutors for classes or individual basketball or strength and conditioning stuff. I just felt like I did better in small groups or one-on-one. And I think a lot of times that's kind of goes away from the the wayside of people want to be in these big groups and they want to be on social media, but in reality, that's not really helping the individual situation.
It makes sense. But I mean, you did a lot of small group training. And I felt that you also did a good job of finding your voice.
Correct.
Because when it was you and me one-on-one, I was like, hey, I have no problem answering this. But when it's like, ooh, my peers are here, it's funny. I'll be honest with you. You know the hardest thing for me to do is coaching a coaching clinic with my own peers.
Yeah.
Because it's my people.
Yeah.
And so when you're around your peers, you're like,
Yeah.
ooh, am I going to ask this? Hey, coach, you pushed off the wrong foot. Did you mean to do that?
Yeah.
You know, it's an
Yeah.
embarrassing moment for you.
Yeah.
Or it's not. So,
Yeah.
Devin, this has been awesome, by
Yeah.
the way.
No,
I have one last question
Yeah,
for you.
go
okay?
ahead.
You wake up tomorrow.
Yep.
You're the commissioner of American basketball. Whatever you rule you pass goes. You could put a 4-point line in. You could put a 5-second shot clock in. Swishes are worth 4. What change would you be and why? And you could say, it could be, we're going to limit, you have to go 50 train, 50 play, whatever you want to say. What would you train?
I have one little stupid thing that just is
wanna
my
hear it.
pet peeve of basketball.
Let's hear it.
The ball gets stuck on a jump shot in the rim, and the offense has a chance to get the ball back. If I shoot a jump shot and it gets stuck, it's not a jump ball. It's the defensive team's ball. That's always that is such a bad miss, but that's hard to miss that bad for it to get stuck in the side of the rim. And the fact that it's like, oh, well, it's our possession area, so we get the ball
It's a
back.
jump ball.
I just have always said that. Maybe that's just me, but that's my pet peeve of just little thing. My overall, better answer your question.
No, that was a good answer.
Yeah.
I want to hear the other one, though.
But for me, it kind of goes what you said. I just think finding the balance of, I think AAU and youth sports are important. But I think playing 3-4 games Thursday to Sunday hurts kids sometimes because I don't think they get time to kind of individualize, get better. And once you get to like the high school levels, you have like some dead periods. But I think it's really easy for a youth basketball team to sign up every single weekend and play 9 games a week, but never really have an opportunity to get better. So if you could spread out like youth basketball, just like the time, and give kids time to have weekends where they can train and they can develop, I think that would be a lot better because I just think we get so caught up with, like you said, the 50-50 of just play. But, I mean, now it's probably, 90-10? I think guys, it's true, they play in many tournaments, but they're not doing anything through the week. And maybe the week's hard for some parents, so just giving kids and youth weekends to develop and train, I think would be good. I think having 8 straight weekends of AAU basketball can be sometimes more harm than good.
Appreciate it, man. Devin, I don't know if I ever told you this. It's been fun to watch your coaching career.
Yeah.
I watched from a sideline, and I'm proud of you, man. Proud of you.
Thank you.
Proud to call you my friend.
No
Congrats
problem.
with everything.
Thanks for everything. Thank
Phenomenal.
you guys.